All right, so today I'm going to show off a couple features of Engrade. I'll start off showing how I would use it in my own class, and how looking at some of the reports that you can generate that are useful for midterm and final grades, and then going on to how you would actually make an account and set up a class in Engrade that follows all the ELI grade scale and so on. So this is the screen you see when you first log in. It's just the default gradebook screen. I actually, though, I'm going to start with attendance. All right, so I like using this for attendance. The first time I looked at this screen, though, so you can see the names, you can see the dates, and then I thought, okay, now what do I actually do here? Well, it turns out you just use whatever system you want, and it just totals up, how much of each thing you typed in, you put in when you make the report. So I just use a system PAL. Present, absent, and late. So let's say most people were present. Maybe Jimmy Carter was a little bit late today. Maybe Calvin Coolidge was absent, and so on. So then we can show a report here where you can see for each student how many times they've been present, how many times they've been late, and how many times they've been absent. It just uses whatever system you want to use, whatever letters or short phrases you want to use. If you want to have something like excused, if someone maybe was switched into your class late, you could have a column for that, whatever you want. And it just shows you exactly what you put into the system. If you go back to the gradebook here, so here we have the assignment names at the top, obviously. And
Bill, could I go back a second?
Sure.
I noticed on that attendance, it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Could you customize this for, say, ELI and just get rid of Wednesday?
I'm not sure that you can do that. I don't think that they have an option for that. So you can see in my older things here, I just skipped the Wednesday.
Okay.
You can also view by the month. They don't have a way to show absolutely everything on one sheet like this, other than just showing the totals. But there are a few different options. So for the gradebook, you can see that the scores are color-coded by how well the student did. And so you can tell at a glance, within one column, for example, mechanics, these students did pretty well on mechanics in general. They didn't make too many mistakes with spelling or punctuation. A couple of them were in the C range with that kind of dirty yellow color, but not too bad. And you can also see within one student if they're doing generally a good or maybe having a little bit of trouble. So here, Ulysses Grant looks like green scores almost all the way across, but then there are a couple of missing assignments here. So Ulysses missed a couple of journals. And then that brings me to the next point. So of course you can put in numbers, but you can also put in E for excused. So this student entered my class late, and so the first few journals, which are just for participation points anyway, I just excused from their grade report. That's the same as the ungraded function in micrograde, where if you just don't enter a grade, it doesn't count it. And there's also a missing thing you can choose. So if we want to make a new assignment, let's say this is an OSS sentence assignment worth 15 points. Let's say it'll be due tomorrow, and the category is homework and exercises. So if this is something maybe that you did in the past and you're just now putting in your gradebook, you can actually enter the student scores directly on this page. If it's something that you're adding for the future, though, you can submit it blank. And then it just shows up as another column on the gradebook spreadsheet. And so then as you add grades, you notice that not only does this color code and update automatically and gets saved to the web server, but it also immediately updates the course grade as well. So as I go down here, you can see those updates change. You know, they're following the ELI grade scale, so like an 80% is a B minus, but an 84% is a B. You know, it just updates as you go and automatically saves as you go, so you don't lose any work. Well, as long as you have an internet connection, I suppose. All right, then when it's time to do midterm grades or final grades, there are a couple things you can do. First of all, there are the student reports. Now, they don't look that great on this screen right here, but when we actually would go to print them, you see it splits up students onto separate pages. So you don't have multiple students' information, you know, mixed on one sheet of paper. So here we can see John Adams with his course grade, so 86%, that's a B. And then it's a little hard to see. Let me zoom in here. Actually, this is, no, it should be able to do that. I don't know why it didn't zoom in. So that says 89% for compositions, and it also gives the weighting. It counts as 40% of grade, along with all the scores. Homework and exercises, 77%. It counts as 25% of the total grade weight. Participation, 100%. And then, you know, there's this final exam category that has nothing in it right now, and would not have anything for midterms. But this is all the information you need to enter, you know, the grades into midterm grades.
Bill, let me ask you a question, yeah?
Yep.
So within a category, can you change the weights of particular items? So composition is 40%, but if you wanted to make one of those compositions weigh more than the others within that category, is that possible?
I don't think that that's possible. Let's take a quick look at that. So more options, no, it doesn't look like
Okay.
there's
That's-
anything like that.
That's hard or impossible in micrograde too.
Yeah. We also have, so if you go to the students page,
I have a question, though.
Yep.
We can go back to the weights, because that's the really important part here.
okay, so we were
That's
here,
good to look there. When it says compositions, participation, 100%, 100% is, where's that 100% coming from?
Oh, so that is just the total of the scores in the category. So these were just journal entries. Those are the only participation grades so far. And so they right now have full participation credit. But then after the 100%, it says counts as 5% of grade. So within participation, they have full credit right now. But that only makes 5%
Okay.
of this.
So in homework, they only have a C plus.
That's right.
Okay, all right, okay, got it. Thank you.
Actually, I think in our system, that would just be a normal C, right? I think it's 78 is C plus. But,
Yes, yes,
maybe-
you're right, yes, yeah.
Yeah, so unfortunately, it doesn't calculate for you, you know, what the letter is for each of the subcategories, but micrograde does not do that either. So it comes out as a wash there.
Okay. Hey, Bill, let me
Yeah.
just follow up. So like under compositions there, some of those are 10 points, some are 25 points, some are 25.
Yep.
So are they all equally weighted within that category? Or does the 25 pointer count 2.5 times as much as the 10 pointer?
Yeah, it's the latter, yeah, within the category,
Okay.
it goes by points, or at
All
least
right,
that's
well,
my understanding.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, all right, so it showed making a new assignment, putting in grades, and then I was showing, you know, the information you would need for our, you know, FileMaker database. So for missing assignments, if we look at this Students tab again, first of all, you can see the name. In my case, it just randomly assigned them IDs. You know, you could have a unified system if there were a school account, you know, in which all the students would have consistent IDs for all of their classes, but that's not really important for an individual teacher. And then over here, it says their number of missing assignments. So you can see at a glance if a student is missing work, and then report that on the, you know, the FileMaker grade report, because that's one of the fields.
Yeah.
All right, so that's all the information that, you know, that you need to put into the system and that you would need for a grade report.
That item there, the missing work column is good for our setup where you have to check off missing work on the grade report rather than hunting for zeros.
Exactly,
You know,
exactly.
in micrograde.
Yeah, and then even one of the issues with micrograde is, you know, you have to keep track of whether a 0 means that they just didn't submit it, or whether, like, I had one case, I'll show you real fast, on a journal, weirdly enough, in which someone actually, for about half of the journal, it was just copied verbatim from a Wikipedia article. And so I just wrote on it, you know, this is plagiarism, you can't copy directly from the internet. Because it was a journal, I didn't really go much further with that, but you know, I did give a 0 as distinct from missing work. So here it would not show as a missed assignment, but they still get 0 points.
But the missed assignment, it still gets 0 points.
Yeah, that's 0 points. There's also excused, as I mentioned earlier. So Dwight here was switched into my class about a week after classes had begun. It was kind of a late switch. And so some of those early journal entries, I just don't have a record of.
Right.
Yeah.
But missing automatically counts as 0.
Yeah, missing counts as 0. Excused is just not factored into the grade. All right, so my next step was going to be showing the process of making a class, unless you have any other questions.
Not at the moment.
All right.
I'm interested in seeing that part.
Yeah, so I was planning on first doing this quickly, just to show the process, and then, you know, if you wanted to set up something for one of your own classes, you know, we can do that a bit more slowly with direct support. So I'll go to create new class. So I'm going to say it's a writing class, ELI Writing 3, and I'll just say Z, okay. The rest of the information is not terribly important if you're just an individual teacher using it. I think it's information that's, you know, more useful if there's a central school account and they're keeping track of all the teachers' things. But so I guess we're still in the 2011-2012 school year. This is the 3rd semester of the year. Let's just say other for grade level. And, well, they're missing a nuance here, but we'll say foreign language. You know, they don't have second language. So this is the default grading scale. This is not what we use in ELI. I have on the sheet that I gave you what the ELI's grading scale looks like, and I'll quickly add that. So we add 5, 6, 7, 8 rows.
It's 96.
I'll do the letters first. B, B minus. C plus, C, C minus, plus, D, D minus. Our numbers go 98, 93, 90, 88, 83, 80, 78, 73, 70, 68, 63, 60, and then F is filled in automatically. So this does take a minute to set up. We do use assignment categories, and these assignment categories are weighted. So for writing 3, we have 4 categories. We have compositions, that's 40%. There's an option to drop lowest score, but I don't think we normally do that in the ELI. There's homework and exercises for 25%. Participation for 5%. And final exam for 30%. So that's our grading scale and our assignment categories. And then there's the class student list. So here they suggest that you type first name, last name, and the school ID number. In my case, I just did first name and last name because, to my knowledge, I don't think that our students have specific ID numbers internally within the ELI. I'm not really sure. But if you don't actually provide a number, they just supply one. So let's, we'll go with these names. George Washington, John Adams. All right, and from this point, we're just back to, you know, how I showed it to you before.